No, I need the fingers. I don't care if your other teacher doesn't care about that. You're showing me your fingers.
Their other teacher.
Good. I'm going to give you a verb. You're going to tell me what it means. What does afsada yufsidu mean? Anyone know? Afsada yufsidu. Afsad. I want the English translation of fasad.
To make conflict. Corruption.
Corruption. How do you know this? This is what you studied last ayah al-Baqarah. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. What does it say? وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا, when it said to them, لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ, don't cause corruption in the earth. بَلْ نَحْنُ مُصْلِحُونَ. Rather, we're those who are just trying to fix things. We're trying to reform things. We're not causing corruption. Afsada yufsidu. Good. Afsada. Open it up. Huwa afsada. Start. What happened? Anta afsadta. Again, let's go. Anta. Anti. Why do you want to hurt me the first day I come back? Again. Start with huwa afsada. Start. Huwa afsada. Ya afsadat. Hum afsadu. Anta afsadta. Anti afsadti. Antum afsadtum. Ana afsadtu. Nahnu afsadna. Good. Now, afsada nufsidu. Afsada nufsidu. Sorry. Afsada yufsidu. Sorry. Afsada yufsidu. Start. Huwa yufsidu. Start. Huwa yufsidu. Yufsidu. Hum yufsiduna. Again, we're going to do it again with confidence. Huwa. Huwa yufsidu. Yufsidu. Hum yufsiduna. Anta tufsidu. Anti tufsidina. Antum tufsiduna. Ana ufsidu. Nahnu nufsidu. Yes, you guys definitely do that. You're doing lots of fasad right now towards me. A lot of fasad. Okay, bismillah. What else? Should I test anything else? I want to get to ayat. I can. Your teacher, Ustad Safiya, can test you later on. I'll just come and give you the new vocabulary that she is assigned me to give you guys. Is this going full screen or is it just bothering me? What's going on? Okay. A lot of these verbs you already know. So, Arafa ya'arifu, have you guys taken that before? Arafa ya'arifu? No? This is from Arafa ya'arifu, to know something, right? Arafa ya'arifu ma'rifatan. Say it for me. Arafa ya'arifu ma'rifatan. Arafa ya'arifu ma'rifatan. To know. Halaka yahliku halakan. To destroy. Correction over here. To be destroyed or to die itself. Halaka. If I say huwa halaka, he died. Ahlaka yuhliku, to destroy someone or something. Ahlaka yuhliku, right? Remember, like kharaja yakhruju versus akhraja yukhriju. Dakhala yadkhulu versus adkhala yudkhilu, right? This is halaka yahliku. This is what's it called?
The past tense.
It's past tense. It's past and present both. But what it is that it affects the individual that's being done to, right? Halaka yahliku versus ahlaka yuhliku. Wajada yajidu wujudan. Say it for me. Wajada yajidu wujudan. Wujud. Wajada yajidu. Wajada yajidu. Say it for me.
Wajada yajidu
Wujudan. That is to find. Wajada yajidu. Yes. Do you want it all bigger? That's a good idea. Can I even get bigger than that? How's that?
That's good.
Oh, exactly.
Yes, that's good. No, it.
Okay. Yeah,
Then we're not finding
yeah,
the
one
English.
second. There you
Yeah.
go. Okay. Vanna yadhunnu dhannan. Repeat that for me.
Dhanna yazunnu dhanna.
You guys don't have the vocabulary in front of you, do you?
No.
You don't? A little bit bigger than this? Yes, ma'am.
What is the third column for? Yeah, what is the third column?
Have you guys, when we give you guys verbs the very first time around, it always has the idea there, right? Remember how you guys used to do dakhala yadkhulu dukhulan? What are some other words that you guys learned? Raja'a yarji'u ruju'an. You haven't taken the third word yet? Okay, that's fine. What?
Is it the 100% Quran?
80%.
We
80%.
have that.
Oh, you do? Oh, if you already have it, then you have it. It's right there. This is the 80% words, yeah. This is the 80% words.
What page number is it?
Maybe what Sophia did was, I can ask her what page she took from, but I think she probably just took from a general online list that's there for the 80% words, and you're getting it from there. So, for those of you that obviously, you're saying down the third word you haven't seen before. First word is what? Past tense or present tense? Arafa, taraka, past tense. Second word is what?
Present tense.
Present tense. The third word is always the idea behind something, right? Meaning, if I say he ate, he eats, the idea of eating. Gerund. This is the masdar. And you're gonna study this inshallah when you guys get into sarf. So Sophia said, mashallah, you guys are done with nahu now, and you're going to be entering into sarf, and you're going to be learning not just this, but other versions of the word. Because we know the fi'l from arafa ya'rifu is arafa ya'rifu. The fi'l. The ism from it is ma'rifa. But also a name that's very common, arif from arafa ya'rifu. Also ma'ruf from arafa ya'rifu. And you'll learn how to conjugate these. It's very, very simple. And just how they're, if you guys remember when you were studying how you first learn how there's a pattern when it comes to verbs, that'll still be there. Those patterns will still be maintained, inshallah. Yes?
The derivatives are from the third word or the derivatives from the verb?
That's a very good question. People have written PhDs about this, so I'm not going to be able to give you the answer. Yeah, so they say, so the question that grammarian or linguists have is this. Did the word derive from the masdar, the third word, or did the word derive from the letters, the three letters? This is something where lots of studies have been done. But, I mean, language-wise, when you see the word masdar literally means source of something. But that doesn't mean it came from there. Allah knows that's which one came from where. But regardless, the clear concept over here is that knowing that there are three letters that are shared, and sometimes four, and sometimes 5 letters, and sometimes 6 letters that are shared. Majority of the time, you'll only see 3 letters. Sometimes 4 letters that are shared. And what are those 3 letters? Ayn, Ra, Fa. Ayn, Ra, Fa. You guys haven't learned how to figure that out yet? No. But when you look at it, you can tell most of the time. Right? You can tell most of the time. Unless you go into the bigger verb patterns, right? Like yastahzi'u. You're like, oh, yastahzi'u. Then you're like, okay, wait a minute. I can figure it out. But that's what you're going to learn. The next realm in your Arabic studies is learning what the root letters are. So now you can efficiently go into a Arabic, not just Arabic dictionary, a Quranic dictionary, and look at those letters and see how they interact in the Quran. That is one of the most crucial steps in being able to pick up the Mus'haf and understand Quran. When you're able to look at the root letters and say, okay, let me see how Allah used this word in multiple other ways in different parts of the Quran. How did He use it as a verb? How did He use it in past tense, in present tense? And this is where you're able to derive so much benefit from the language and so much depth from the language. If you ever heard like Ustad Oman's talks or anybody who does tafsir that is very, very language heavy, right? Where do they get it from? They don't just get it from their own brains. They have to go to dictionaries, they have to go to classical sources and see how did the Arabs use this word. Because Allah doesn't just randomly choose any word He wants, whatever language He wants. He chose a very specific language with very deep, deep roots. With very deep roots. So you will learn, inshallah, in this coming module of Saf, how to identify those letters. And once you do, now the harder part will come. That is where we have to fight ourselves and our own laziness and say, well, I already know I have the 80% word list. What did the yajidu means to find? Why should I look at a dictionary? I already know what the one-word definition means. That's the difference between a student who cares and the student who just wants to know the translation versus who wants to get the depth. You have to actually sit in front of a dictionary, open it up. Actually, it's digitalized, so it's much easier. Just type it in. For some of us, it might be harder. Some of us might be easier. But you just type those letters in. I promise you, it's one of the most useful resources I have ever used when it comes to my Arabic studies. If I ever give a talk where I'm doing anything with Quran, I will almost always use this dictionary. It's called the Brill Quran English Dictionary. You can buy it for like $400 if you want to buy a physical copy, or you can get the online version for $400. But we have access to it from the teacher, mashallah, himself. And he is, for those of you that don't know, his name is Mas Abdul Halim. He's the author of or the translator of the Oxford Press Quran. When I told you guys a long time ago, there's two translations that I recommend for Quran. One is Oxford Press by Mas Abdul Halim, and the other one is The Clear Quran by Dr. Mustafa Al-Khattab. If you're reading any other translation, okay, go ahead. But I'm telling you, these two are the best when it comes for Arabic students. It is the clearest, the most detailed. My personal, between those two, I would give The Clear Quran the upper hand, especially for Arabic students. It is wonderful for you. The Clear Quran by Dr. Mustafa Al-Khattab. But the author of the other one, Mas Abdul Halim, not the author, sorry, translator. He is a professor in Oxford University. He did a wonderful job in translation as well. But he actually wrote an entire massive Quran dictionary. And how detailed it is. When you guys start using it, inshallah, I'm gonna come and we're gonna be watching you guys, actually using it, inshallah, on your devices. You'll see how beneficial it is, how deep it goes. Actually, I can show you right now.
You said Clear Quran by Dr. Mustafa Al-Khattab?
Yes.
And second one is Oxford. Yes.
Right here. Actually, I'll show you the entire thing. Let me show you that. I just use a dictionary real quick. Let's use what's one word that's very good? Basara? Let's say Basara. Okay, so if you guys can see over here, it's kind of hard to see, but right here I just typed in the Arabic. This is a massive dictionary. And what this resource gives me is Hansware. This is one dictionary. This I really wouldn't use for Quranic studies, but students like to cheat and just use that anyways. This is it right here, mashallah. Brilliant. Basara. Check out all what he does, mashallah. Let's go to Basara. So for Basara, you find it on the page. Now, what it's going to give you is these three letters. These are the three root letters. And now it's going to give you all the different concepts that are related to that root letter. So watch. Basara has to do with eyesight, to see, to comprehend, to realize, a proof, a sign, something that's an eye-opener, to warn, to guide, to reflect, to ponder. Of this root letter, 14 forms occur 148 times in the Quran. How many times does it come as basura? The verb basura, it comes 3 times. How many times does it come as yubassaru? Bassara yubassiru becomes yubassaru once. How many times does it come as absara? 27 times. Absir, twice. Basir, 51 times. Basira, twice. Basair, 5 times. And keep on going, keep on going. Then he goes into the actual words themselves and he breaks them apart. He says, okay, I showed you basura. Let me show you how it comes in the Quran and what it means in the Quran in different places. This is one thing that a lot of times as beginner students of any language in translation, we think, like think about this. Say you just learned the English language. You just learned it, right? You don't know any idioms, any kind of expressions. And someone says to you, man, that is so cool. You're like, no, it's not cool at all. It's not cool. I don't feel it. Because someone who just learned the language, they only associate the literal one-word meaning with the thing they know. That's all they know. But you and I, someone who knows the language, say, no, cool has multiple meanings. That's what's cool. Right? He's like, yeah, that's really cool. It's not cool at all. I'm saying the complete opposite, right? So what I'm trying to convey is that when we learn the Arabic language, and when you take your vocabulary from the 80% words list, realize you're at step number 1. When we take our vocabulary from the 80% word list, right, and we look at a basic translation, that's step number 1. You have to understand that each word has depth to it. There's a depth to it. That's how language works, not just the Quran, but every single language, right? For example, the word in Urdu, when you say jigr, what does it mean? Jigr. Mera jigri yaar, mera jigri dost, right? My close friend. But literally, what does it mean?
Liver.
Literally, it means an organ, right? It means your liver. Now, if someone who just learned Urdu the other day, you're like, oh, you're my jigr. And you're like, what do you mean I'm your jigr? Right? that's above my pay grade. I don't even know what that means. But the idea is this, that we have to understand that when it comes to language, when we are studying this book, there will be times when you're going to be overwhelmed because you're going to say it's so deep. Yes, that's why Allah chose this language. That's why He chose this language. But at the same time, don't be lazy and don't let our laziness be the things that kind of impede our progress in understanding this book. This book is deep, it is rich. When we say, I'm just going to look at the 80% words, we're not even memorize the vocabulary. That's lower down. But memorize the vocabulary is the next step after you learn how I can use this dictionary, then go deeper and see what it's talking about. The word, let me give you a better example actually. The word dhikr actually is an excellent example for this.
Do we have access to it?
Yes, we'll give you access to this, inshallah. You'll have to bring your laptops and you'll download it onto it, and you don't have to use internet for this. It'll just be on your laptop. It's beautiful.
You know, there's a Pakistani who has started this app, Quran 360. It has everything in it.
If it's something this deep, then wonderful, use it.
Not this.
Not like this.
Yeah.
I use that, but not like this.
Yeah.
This, I'm telling you, this was the work of like multiple PhDs, masters in language. Like this is a groundbreaking work, mashallah. Why am I talking names? Anyways, I don't want to take too much time for this. I'll just give you an example. So the word dhakara. What does the word dhikr mean? Translate. Remembrance, right? Is there any other translation you can give me for dhikr?
To say, zikr karna.
Dhikr with remembrance, a reminder, you could even say that. In the Quran, the word dhikr, not dhakara yadhkuru, just the word dhikrun, the masdar, the idea, it's used in over 15 different meanings. 15 different meanings. The word dhikrun. And even the ayah in Surah Al-Hijr, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ, right? That Allah says that undoubtedly we are the ones that set down the dhikr. Now what's the dhikr mean? The Quran, that's the common translation. But if you look at the scholarly interpretation, they say no, all the revelation. The Quran and the Sunnah is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down and He protected it. For those people that deny the Sunnah, some of them will say, look, it says Allah protected the Quran. No, Allah didn't say He protected the Quran. He said He protected the dhikr. He didn't say the Quran. He said He protected the dhikr. And the dhikr is the reminder, the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the scholars say that, by the way, the dhikr, number one, first and foremost, it's the Quran. But then what was the explanation of the Quran? What was the understanding of the Quran? The Sunnah of the Prophet. For those who say that, no, the Sunnah is not protected. It's man-made, right? No, the Sunnah is also protected. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who took this upon Himself. And that's just from the meaning of the word dhikr, when you go into that. Because a lot of times, even as Muslims, we'll mistranslate things because we'll think, oh, that's what Allah said. But actually, that's not what Allah said. Allah said something actually very different. And that's what we understood, or we assumed it to be. So it's very important to look deep in the language, because Allah does not randomly use language. He uses it with purpose. Okay. Now back to your chart over here. Dhanna yadhunnu dhannan, to assume.
Another thing.
Can we zoom in more? Yeah, there you go.
It's also to think too.
Yes, so the word, I wish if you had it in front of you, that would be great.
You know, in this page, a lot of.
They're all mixed up, yeah.
Yeah.
There must be a reason why Sophia went in this order. I can't tell right now.
Page
But
8.
let me see. She must have taken some from a certain portion, some from a certain portion, or maybe she's got it from a similar list. Okay, let's keep on going. Sorry about that. Is that good, guys? Okay. Hasiba yahsabu usbanan, to presume or deem. To presume or to deem. Bayyana yubayyinu tabyinan, to make clear. Tabyinan, to make clear. Baddala yubaddilu tabdilan, to change or exchange. Good. I don't want you to say tabdila, I want you to make sure you make the full sound. Azzaba yu'adhibu ta'dhiban, to punish. Good, this is from like adhab, right? Azzaba, azzabtahu, you punished him. Azzabtukum, I punished you all. A'jaba yu'jibu i'jaban, to impress. Good. Oh, here we go. We had halaka yahliku, remember? Halaka yahliku meant to what? To destroy or to be destroyed? Halaka yahliku, to be destroyed. Ahlaka yuhliku, to destroy. Go ahead. Ahlaka yuhliku ihlakan.
To destroy.
Akrama yukrimu ikraman, to honor.
Honor.
Tafakkara yatafakkaru. Oh, this is a mistake. It says yatafakkiru. It's yatafakkaru. Tafakkara yatafakkaru. Tafakkuran, to think or contemplate. Tafakkuran, to think or to contemplate. Tafakkur. How many? Let me see how many are coming in here. Coming vocab right now. Oh yeah, coming. What was it? Okay, let's just do a couple more from these top ones. Some of them you've already done before, right? جمع يجمع جمعا to gather. رفع يرفع رفعا to raise or lift. To raise or lift. Make sure, remember now, going forward, I want you guys to make sure you memorize all three. Don't just say, oh, I'm just going to stick to the past and the present. Past, present, and the masdar, and the idea. You have to memorize this. And trust me, if your eyes are getting big now, there's more things you have to memorize as well. But there's a pattern. When it comes to the masdar, this third word, there's not always a pattern when it comes to certain families. But other families, you notice the pattern. Aslama yuslimu. How do you say it? Aslama yuslimu? Not tasliman. Aslama yuslimu. Aslama yuslimu is the religion we follow, guys. Aslama yuslimu. Islaman. Good. Again. Aslama yuslimu. Islaman. Afsala yufsidu. Ifsadan. Ahlaka yubliku. Ihlakan. There's a rhyme. Ahlaka yubliku. Ihlakan. Afsada yufsidu, ifsadan, aslama yuslimu, islaman. Or was it akrama yukrimu, ikraman, avlama yuvlimu, ivlaman. There's the pattern there. These, the three letter ones, they don't have a common thing. Sometimes you can guess it, but you're not always going to be correct.
So the third word is a root word?
Not the root word, it's called the masdar. It's called the idea. Remember back in ism? Remember back in ism? The ism is a noun, adjective, idea, adverb, and more, right? Things are finally like filling up from back in the first day, hopefully.
But in 80% Quran, there is more words, like more than 3. Amana, ya amanu, amana, amanu. There are 5 words like together.
Yes, that's what's going to come next. So once you start learning conjugation, then you learn how to do that as well. You'll learn how to say the doer, the one who's done to, you'll learn how to say the idea, you'll learn all that, inshallah. Okay, abada ya'budu ibadatan, to worship. Mana'a yamna'u man'an, to prevent. Yarzuqu rizqan, to provide. Kallama yukallimu takliman, to talk. Ghayyara yughayyiru taghyiran, to change. Good. Next, last one. Oh no, akhraja yukhriju ikhwan, to cast out or to make someone leave. At'ama yut'imu it'aman, to feed. Adkhala yudkhilu idkhalan, to make someone enter. Just like someone, but it could be make someone or something, right? Next one, tabayyana yatabayyanu tabayyunan, to make clear. Tabayyana yatabayyanu tabayyunan, to become clear. To become clear. Okay. How will these words become part of your vocabulary? By you spending time with these words. Not by spending time in class, but by spending time with these words outside, right? That's how you already know. When it comes to your vocabulary charts, when it comes to your pronouns, you can't do anything in this class to be able to fix that. You have to do that outside of class. You can have done this class day in, day out, but if you're not practicing outside of class, it's not going to improve. You have to be able to memorize your own vocabulary so you can start understanding what's being said in the Quran. You have to be able to go over your charts. Shouldn't be still, yufsidu, tufsidu, yufsiduna. The Imam's going to say, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. You're going to say, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. They're going to be on Juz Amma, you're still going to be on the first page. So I'm telling you, you better start getting those vocabulary words, those pronouns, they have to get sharp. If they're not sharp while you're studying, what's going to happen when you're not coming to class anymore? Just answer that question to yourself. What's going to happen when you're not coming to an Arabic class on a twice-a-week basis? If you're not reviewing now, what guarantees you that you're going to be reviewing later? Review, review, review. Not 20 minutes or an hour just before the class. Spend 10 minutes a day is more valuable for you. Every single day. It's more valuable than Having a headache for an hour after the class saying I forgot everything. Just spend 10 minutes every single day. Spend 10 minutes every single day reviewing, and it'll be much more beneficial for you than showing up to class and then going afterwards, oh man, this is so hard. Spend those 10 minutes every day, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. But the more consistency you show, the more of yourself you give to the language, the more the language will give itself over to you. But if you have in your mind, Monday, Wednesday, that's my Arabic class. Then when Monday, Wednesday is over, your Arabic class will stay Monday, Wednesday, and you'll be over there. Okay? You'll be over there, Arabic class is back over here. So you ready to take over? I didn't get to go through ayat. I went to she knows me. She already knew that I was going to go on a tangent about something about Arabic, so that works. Oh, you didn't open up the Tanzil anyways, right? You want to go to your notes and you start? Yeah, go. Can I give him one ayah? Can I just give him one ayah?
You can do it at the end of class.
Probably not going to happen.
What did you talk about?
Some. And what? So they didn't know the mustard. I had to explain what mustard was.
Because we haven't said some.
Well, you told me to give them.
Okay, I'm going to find out. Yes, I will call
You can use this one.
What's the phone number?
Okay. Grab my notes on. Can I just?
I will.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسوله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. You did any Baqarah today?
No.
So we just switched it up. Mahan was going to do vocab, Baqarah, and then I'd come for the new lesson. But instead, something else, which is good. Good. It's always good. I don't know what it was. I was outside. Okay. Let's go to the new lesson, inshallah. The new lesson. Before the new lesson, let's finish the last lesson. This is what we ended off with yesterday, Monday. When I have, what three parts of an ism sentence do I have? Mubtada, khabar, muta'alliq bil khabar. What is an abnormal sentence structure? You can tell me? What would come first? MBK followed by Mubtada.
Or
A lot of times this gives the if it has a la or a inda in the beginning as the MBK, it indicates has possession. So lahu qalamun, he has a pen. Laha kitabun, she has a book. Lillahi mulku samawati wal ardi. Lillahi, for Allah has mulku, the kingdom, the dominion, as-samawati wal ardi.
the skies and the
And we said because of this being proper, does it just mean he has or does it mean something else?
but he has
Only he has mulku samawati wal ardi. We said if it's a regular sentence, then it's just he has, she has, they have, Muhammad has. If it's a proper word that they own, then you say it gives some exclusivity. Or particularly when it's in the Quran. Maybe in someone's regular speech, it's not very emphatic. Okay, li umun wa abun. Li. I have a mother and father. Li bintun.
I have a daughter.
Li waladun.
I have a son.
I have a son. عند أمريكا أناس كثيرون.
America has a lot of people.
America has lots of people. Oh, America has many people. Okay, good. We just had another MBK followed by Mubtada, and it gives a little bit of a different meaning, but you can also just translate it word for word. Let's just translate it word for word. في قلوبهم مرض. First of all, let's separate it. What's the MBK?
في قلوبهم.
في قلوبهم. What's the mubtada?
مرض.
Maradun. What indicates to us that it's a mubtada is it ends in un. It's rafa, so that tells us we're looking at a mubtada. Can we just guess that maybe it's a khabar? MBK and khabar?
We can say.
We can maybe?
Because it's, no, I mean, if not,
There must be a
because-
mubtada with
Khabar
MBK.
can be,
There must be a mubtada.
also.
Khabar can be rafa also, good. So you
Yeah, that's the
could,
reason
so
I
your
said.
guess can be MBK followed by M or K? The answer is wrong. It has to be mubtada because my sentence, every sentence needs a subject. Every sentence needs a mubtada. Think about it. I can't just say in their hearts and then more description. In their hearts, in the sky, books. Okay, I don't know, this doesn't make sense what I'm trying to say. But you have to have a subject of a sentence. Every sentence just rationally has to have a subject, something you're talking about. So you have to have a mubtada for every sentence. So if you find an MBK and then one other thing, that one other thing has to be mubtada. Okay, so in this case, we're just looking at another MBK followed by mubtada in all of these cases. Fil bayti rajulun, kitabi qalamun jadidun. They're all MBK followed by mubtada, but it's not showing possession because it's not la or inda. It's just another general sentence structure that usually means there is something somewhere. Fi qulubihim maradun. I could translate it word for word, and that's fine. Let's translate it. In their hearts is a disease. No problem. We could have translated it in their hearts as a disease. You can also say, and you'll find translators say, there is a disease in their hearts. They switch it just to make it a more normal English sentence. But technically, in their hearts is a disease is an okay English
They
sentence.
have a disease in their hearts.
It's not a have sentence because there's no li or enda. Right? So we just have fi, baina, fi, tahta. So don't give it a have. What this is, those are called have sentences. We'll call these there is, there are sentences. In this case, there is a disease in their hearts. Or in their hearts is a disease. We're okay with either. This is just giving you two options. This is saying if you see a translator say there is a disease in their hearts, and you're looking at it word for word and you're thinking, why did they do that? Why did they do that? They could have just written in their hearts as a disease. It's because this structure, MBK followed by mubtada, where it's not li or inda, gives you a possible there is meaning in English. Yes.
So for an abnormal sentence, one of the possible format is MBK followed by mubtada.
Yes.
Now, is that the only format of the abnormal sentence?
No, there's one more.
The other abnormal sentence structure,
Mubtada, MBK, and
Mubtada.
khabar.
MBK.
And khabar.
This is the other abnormal
This is
sentence.
the MBK.
Mubtada. So it was like Muhammadun. We were saying Muhammadun Rasulun fi Makkah, and this would be Muhammadun fi Makkah Rasulun. It's just the MBK brought forward.
You said when there's a V or enda, you mean the only?
It means I have, she has.
Okay, what was it where it was denoted only?
So where does it denote only is if the mubtada is proper. Only if the mubtada is proper. This is a part of balagh. You could see someone not say only, but you could say only if you know the emphatic nature of it.
What is proper? If inda, then it's proper?
If in this structure, MBK followed by mubtada, you have a have sentence and the mubtada is proper. Like lahu al-kitab, right? You could translate it as he has the book, but a part of the language, a secret treasure of the language that you've now unlocked is that it means actually only he has the book. It's a structure in Arabic to be able to say that only this person has something.
So if MBK comes first, it has to be proper.
No, lahu kitabun, he has a book. No problem. Regular sentence, not only.
So only, lahu only comes with Allah, then it is specific.
No,
So then when it is proper?
let's forget this one. Don't worry about this one. It's a special thing. If it comes to you, good. And if it doesn't, we'll talk about it privately. Just think, lahu, laha, lillahi, indallahi means he has, Allah has, she has. Don't worry about the properness and the onlyness. Just he has, she has, we have. Atika, you're like, no, I must know. We'll talk privately. We will talk privately. Then we said, beyond that, if it's any ihar or any special mudaf as the MBK, you just translate it as is. MBK followed by mubtada, no specialness of this sentence, it's just a regular sentence. It's just out of order. You can say in their hearts is a disease, or you can say there is a disease in their hearts. Let's translate these, or you guys translate them, or I'll get one of you to translate them, okay? وَبَيْنَهُمَا We haven't learned huma. وَبَيْنَهُمَا حِجَابٌ Yes.
Which should be, and there is a veil.
And between them there is a veil.
Barrier.
Excellent. And between them is a veil. What is this talking about? Do you guys know in the
The
Quran?
two C's?
The two C's.
You can say barrier too?
Barrier. Yeah, the two C's. The miraculous nature of the Quran is that it knew that Allah knows, and He puts the information that between the two seas is a barrier, meaning that the two types of water in the sea, they don't mix. There's a barrier. And how would anyone know that? There was no airplanes at that time. So it's one of the miracles of the Quran that some have put forth, that it is a miracle that Allah knows this information, when human did not at that point. Fil bayti rajulun. Someone try it. This one's a simple one. Fil bayti rajulun.
A man is in the house.
In the house is someone?
In the house is a man, or
There is a man.
there is a man in the house. Either way is fine. You can do it word for word. In the house is a man, or there is a man in the house. No problem. تحت الكتاب قلم جديد.
There is a new pen.
Brother Yasser.
Under the book is a pen.
What type of pen?
There is a new pen.
Sorry, a new pen.
Excellent. Under the bed is a new pen, or
There is a new pen
there is a
under
new
the
pen
bed.
under the bed. Either way is fine. You'll find translations translating it either way. So I'm just giving you this information because you could translate it two ways. But does it really change the meaning? No. Meanings are not changed. Doesn't affect our understanding. It's just that it's an abnormal structure. So I wanted to show you. This is an abnormal but commonly used. Okay. You guys did the vocabulary. Did you do all of it or just one side? All of it. Did you guys test one another? Okay, so can I test you? Wajada yajidu.
To find.
To find.
Yeah.
Do you have an Urdu like Wijdan?
Vajda.
Oh, you didn't memorize it. Yeah, Wijdan. To find your existence. Wujud. Yes, it's the same. Oh, wajada means something else?
Yeah, budget is totally different. That's like, mainly it's,
Sounds like a bad thing, the way you're looking.
no, it's actually more of artifact kind of a thing.
Okay,
It's like going in a trance kind of a thing.
okay,
Budget.
okay. So let's not liken it to Urdu. Okay, passives. Bismillah. We got, let's see. Let's try to do this for 10 minutes, okay? And see how well our brains take it. What does passive mean?
Not active.
Not active. So we have finished Nahu. Okay, we have finished Nahu, and there was a little tiny chapter, sub-chapter of fi'al I hadn't taught you because I didn't want to overwhelm you. So we're back to that chapter, and now you won't be overwhelmed because you are more advanced students, okay? Now nothing overwhelms you. Idafa overwhelmed you, but now Idafa is the easiest thing, right? Mawsuf Sifa, everything has to. Yes, not a big deal. Rasulun Kareemun, we've got it. Baytun Jamilun. Qalamun Jadidun. So difficult things have now become easy. So now I'm introducing you to something that is different about the fi'al. So remember we had taken that fi'al entire category and zipped it up. So I want you to now take the ism category, zip it up, put it back away, and we're reopening fi'al. What is a fi'al? More than a verb. Just give me an example.
Allama.
That's not one what we've done in class. Ja'ala yaj'alu. What does that mean? He made, he makes. Good. Ja'ala yaj'alu. Khalaqa yakhluqu. He created, he creates. Verbs with a pronoun attached. Khalaqa is verb. What's the inside doer?
He.
He. Huwa. Khalaqa. He did. Khalaqat. What's the inside doer?
She.
She did. She created. Okay, good. So just giving you guys the remembrance. What if I said Khalaqallahu? What's Allahu? What is Lafzul Jalala? The outside doer. Okay, it had to be what status? Rafa. And now I translate it as Allah created. Okay, we're remembering all of this because this all comes under the category of active verbs. Active. Someone is doing something. He created. He walks. She talks. She teaches. We've only been in the category of active. There is a literally flip side category called passives. Okay? Passive verbs in English and in Arabic. So let's look at it in English first.
Is it like being said?
Yes. Let's look at it in English. Then it'll make sense. Okay? So don't worry about what it says at the top. Oh, and I haven't given you the new sheets. So if someone can come up, one from the boys, men's side, and one from the girl, female side. We usually have younger students. Well, no, you guys are my, actually, you're my more close. Okay. So let's say half and half. Alright, so I'll let those be passed around for a second. Just look at these words, look at these sentences in front of you, and pay attention to the verb. Pay attention to the verb.
We're short on papers.
We're short on papers. Oh, so I think I gave them much more. These were just last week's papers. Oh, I finally found last week's papers if anyone needed them.
For the exam?
I have exams, and I have last week's papers for those who were. Anyways, you can come up at the end of class. Okay. So take a look at the sentences and tell me something that you notice about the verbs. Just take another 10 seconds. Look at the verbs and tell me something you notice about the verbs. There's no doer. Okay. Any other thoughts?
But the work is done.
All of the verbs in these sentences. Just take a look and tell me what's different about them. It's in the past tense? Yeah. Not all.
We don't know how to do it.
It is majul. Good. Okay, good. Okay, you're getting to the right point. So in these sentences, look at this. The fruits and vegetables, they're like the subject, right? That's what we're talking about in the sentence. But usually in a regular sentence, the person or thing you're talking about does the action. For example, Muhammad read the book. Look at the verb in that sentence. Muhammad read the book. Does it have a doer?
Yes.
And it's Muhammad. So we had a doer, and right after it is its verb. We're fine. It makes sense. Muhammad read the book. Allah created insan. So we have an action, and the person mentioned or the subject mentioned is the one who did that action. In this case, the fruits and vegetables were washed and dried. Did the fruits and vegetables do the action of washing and drying?
No.
Are there fruits and vegetables going, washing themselves? No. So their doer is not mentioned. They were washed and were dried. Let's look at the second one. The emperor's robes are stitched by hand. Technically, he could have done them, but let's just say for our sake, he didn't do them. And it's not clear who did them. The emperor's robes are stitched by hand. Someone stitches them, but their name is not mentioned here. Yet the subject of the sentence, the emperor's robe, the emperor or his robes are the subject, they're not doing the action of stitching. Someone else has done them.
And we also don't know is it done by male or female.
We don't know male, we don't know female, we don't know how many people, 100 people did it, we don't know the answer, okay? So what I want you to, what this is called in English and in Arabic is, these are passive verbs. They are not active in that someone is doing them. It means that they were done. This action was done, but we don't know who. In Arabic, it is called majhool. You know the word jahiliya, ignorance? Jahal, jahala is ignorance. We are ignorant. It is unknown to us who did the action. So therefore, these verbs are majhool. These are called fi'al mabni ala al-majhool, or we can just say fi'al majhool, or we're just going to say passive.
It's majhool, Kishore?
Mim, jim, ha, waw, lam. Mim, jim, ha, waw, lam. From jahala, jahiliya, juhul, jahil? No.
Jahil.
Jahil. But that's like a bad thing. Is it nice word?
Illiterate, yeah?
Oh, okay. I've always heard it as like really mean. I thought it meant something else. Okay. Okay. So I want you guys to do did I print out the English for you guys?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I want you guys to underline that fi'al, that passive fi'al, underline it, the whole thing. So not just washed, but were washed. Okay? Are stitched. Underline the whole fi'al. And when I say underline and the substitute doer, I'm asking you for that subject who didn't actually do the action, but they're the ones who the action is done to. So I'm asking you to circle fruits and vegetables. Do the action, but we'll call them substitute doer, right? They're not actually doing the action, but they're like as if they're the doer in the sentence, but we really can't call them the action doer. So we call them the subdoer. Okay, fi'al 1 line, the substitute doer 2 lines. And there might be multiple in a sentence of each. So look out for multiple. So 1 line on the fi'al, 2 lines on that substitute doer, aka the subject that you assumed was doing the action, but really they're just the one the action is done to. All right. The fruits and vegetables were washed and dried one by one. Let me underline as well. Okay, give me the fi'al, the passive fi'al. Were washed.
And dried.
Okay, were washed. Oh, this is not a. Okay. And dried. And we can say essentially it was washed and were dried. Okay, and what is the substitute doer?
Fruits and vegetables.
Okay, I'm just going to use a different color. The fruits and vegetables. Okay, very good. Did the fruits and vegetables do the action? No, so we're not calling them doer, we're calling them substitute doer, okay? The emperor's robes are stitched by hand. What is this, the passive fi'al?
Are stitched.
Are stitched. What is the substitute doer?
Emperor's robes.
The entire thing. Remember, if something is all attached, we don't detach them. The emperor's robe. Essentially in Arabic, this is an idafa, the robes of the emperor. So we'll keep them all together. Okay, what is in the next sentences? The prisoners were released after the treaty was signed. Okay, what is our fi'al, passive fi'al?
Were
Released, was signed. 2, as if it's 2 sentences. We'll just say as if it's 2 sentences. Okay, then what is the substitute doer for were released? The prisoners. Is the prisoner doing the releasing? No, but the action is done to them, so we call them the subdoer. And the treaty was signed. What's the subdoer? The treaty. It was the thing that the action was done to. This dictionary was compiled many years ago. Passive fi'al
was compiled.
was compiled. What is the subdoer?
The dictionary.
This dictionary. Okay. هذا المعجم. معجم. Okay. My team was never defeated. Let's take one sentence at a time. Fi'al,
Was never defeated.
we'll add all of it together. Was never defeated. Essentially. Okay, you could say was defeated is just one. You can take away never, but we'll keep never. Okay, and what is the subdoer?
My team.
Good. Next sentence.
We were given.
We're given.
The gold medal.
And what is the subdoer?
Was
We.
given the subdoer. We were. We. But this become active.
We is the subdoer and were given is the fail.
So here's the question. Who's the subject in the sentence? We were given the gold medal at the tournament last year. Who's the subject of the sentence?
Somebody gave us.
We are the as in subject. And action that happened was were given. And did we give? No. But were we the ones who were given? So we act as, we are called the subdoer. Rationally, substitute doer may not make sense. The word substitute doer doesn't make sense. I only say substitute doer because it's not a doer. It's not an outside doer. It's not an inside doer. Structurally, in this case, taking the place of what we would have seen as the doer. Like Allah created. It's Allah first and created second. So in this case, we have this word first and these passive second. So we're calling it a substitute doer. It's not a doer in any way. It's actually what you could say the done to. Everything is done to this particular.
Actually, we were, right?
We, only we, and then were given is the verb. Okay, oh, and one more. His house was robbed while he was away.
Was robbed.
Was robbed and
His house.
his house while he was away. No, that's not passive. Let's leave that one. Okay. All right, so you understand in English how passives work and how the substitute doer works. It's there in the sentence. It's usually the thing that's done to, and it looks like the subject. The same thing in the Arabic language. Okay? For example, in the Arabic language, we have the sentence, he was helped, just like we had earlier, right? Tell me the fi'al, the passive fi'al, was helped. Tell me the substitute doer, he. How do you say this in Arabic? No, right here. Nusira. Very simple. Nusira. Okay? Take a step back. How do you say he helped?
Nasara.
Say it again. How do you help? How do you say he helped? Nasara. Look at the harakat on nasara. What are they? That's just how nasara is, right? Not every verb looks like that. We have like allama, but this one is nasara. That's what it looks like when it's normal, active. When it's passive, all we did is we didn't have to add any words to make it a passive sentence. We had to just change the harakat. Instead of nasara, we go nusira. This is a pattern. Arabic works in patterns. So the rule to make this is very important. The rule to make a past tense fi'al passive is u-i. First letter. So the way to make a past tense, we're in past tense only. To make a past tense passive, instead of he helped to he was helped, you change the harakas to u-i. You leave the last one alone. U-i. First letter changes to dhamma, not second letter only, but second root letter changes to e, and third root letter is left alone. So let's do this. You can easily do this. How do I say he teaches? He teaches. Sorry. He taught.
Allama.
Allama. Huwa allama, right? How do I say he was taught? Ullima. What did I do?
To change the haraka.
Imagine it. Al-la-ma. Fatha, fatha, fatha. Regular. I wanted to say instead of he taught, I'm saying, where was your son taught? Oh, he was taught at Maryam Masjid. So, ulima. I still kept my shadda. Okay, don't mess with my shadda. But ulima. Instead of allama. He was taught. How about she was taught? First go to your original. How do you say she taught? Allah, allamat. She was taught.
Ulimat.
Ulimat. How simple is that?
It's
Okay.
simple right now.
It's simple right now, yes. I know. How about, we're just going to stick to past tense. Let's do some more practice. Okay, I have right here, unharakated, and I think you might have it. Check your paper. No, okay. So just do this with me. We're going to do it on the sheet. Okay?
Where is that?
Nasara, he helped. I want to change it to passive. He was helped. Do it for me.
Nusira.
No,
Sira.
si, last letter you leave alone. No sira. It was nasara. You leave the last letter alone. Ui.
Nusira.
So by the way, our rule is ui, and for present tense it's uaa. So we have a song. Ui uaa. If you can remember that song, then you remember how to do passive and present. Yes.
But you are changing the
Say again. So you're changing whatever was on Nasara. Okay, do all of these guys. Spread these.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن